So hello and welcome to the channel. I'll say that again. Hello and welcome to the channel. Welcome to another Assetto Corsa Competizione video. We're here. I'm just re-watching this video that I did the other night. I think it was Tuesday evening, about 10 o'clock in the evening. And I was just running in the Porsche, having spent probably most of the afternoon setting the car up on PC. And then coming to the game on Xbox, I was pretty disappointed with how the car actually felt. I hope I do get rid of that mouse in the top left corner. I did actually capture this using my laptop because capturing content on Xbox just seems to be so hit and miss at the moment. So just looking over the setup then that we're going to be using, although it does feel very different, I have had to make a few subtle changes to the setup coming back to the Xbox version of the game. And I didn't actually spend any time looking at how much fuel I was going to be putting in the car during this race, and it does take me by surprise. I definitely don't need anywhere near the amount of fuel that I ended up putting in, but I've always seemed to use it's like a rule of thumb for every 10 minutes of the race I've always put 20 litres of fuel in, regardless of which car I'm using or which circuit I'm driving at, because it's more based on the time length that you're driving on Assetto Corsa Competizione rather than the number of laps you're going to complete. And invariably this has always been quite a good ballpark for me to aim for, but I was very wrong with this one. But yeah, here at Barcelona, it's a fairly cool track, 24 Celsius. It could have been cooler, it could have been hotter, I guess. But one of the main issues is trying to keep the tyres warm because the car's rotating and turning so much throughout the main portion of the lap. The tyres do tend to get fairly hot. So the usual start of a XCL race, we're going to do a formation lap where you get that chance to try and get the temperature into the tyres, into the brakes, make any changes to your setup, make changes to your pit stop strategy, all these little things that come into play when you're on the online races, especially when you move away from, I guess, the normal online race. See myself just getting very much into the start of this race. Eyes everywhere across the screen. So I have generally just talked over myself throughout the introduction to this video. Just because I guess I'm a little bit more animated when it comes away from taking part in a race. I don't think it was, to be honest. I think it was a standard race. Very hard to get the tyres right. It's almost like we think alike, isn't it? But yeah, you can see I've adjusted the brake balance as far rearward as it goes to try and get the brake temperature through the rear of the tyres to get the rear tyres hotter. So yeah, I've just tried to start capturing content using the OBS software. Still not able to get the picture quality as good as I would want it. Definitely isn't capturing what I see on my monitor. Definitely need to make some changes to how we're capturing. I think we're definitely in 1080p. Whether we're capturing 60 frames per second, I'm not sure. I'll have to have a look over these settings that I'm using. But Uvalainen, a guy that I've come across a number of times in the online lobbies as well as in the XCL service, so he's very much a figure that I've raced against plenty of times before. Definitely a level of respect within between the two of us. Never had any issues racing him online, even in public lobbies. Probably a few other people on the grid that I've raced with before. You see we're getting the front right tyre 28 Celsius, or 28 PSI. A little bit too much PSI really. But the rear left tyre 25.8, again just under the kind of pressure that we're really wanting. We want to be in the 26s when we're starting out the race. So both front right and rear left are lacking in optimal pressures. I guess temperature wise probably alright throughout the whole tyres. But see, starting out the race with 55 litres, having put 60 litres of fuel in. And ready to get on the off. Just a little bit too much straight line speed. And away we go. Uvalining getting a good start there. Tried cutting across, but I weren't sure if I'd actually pulled ahead. I am actually pulling ahead there looking at the radar graphic. So I definitely don't want to get caught under his rear wing. So straight line speed, the Porsche is doing pretty well as we come down into turn 1 then. Very feisty into turn 1. We've got the Ferrari coming up the rear. Definitely felt under pressure to maintain that second position coming into the first corner. I think it's Dogs or something like that that's in P3. But definitely feeling pretty decent amount of pressure. Just trying to get the car settled, then get that temperature again through the rear tyres, get the pressures built properly. Still trying to put pressure on Uvalining up ahead as well. And that Ferrari looming very close in the rearview mirror. So too long under braking. Really did feel I was going to get squeezed on the inside coming into this corner. Something I definitely feel I'm struggling with at the moment is braking within this game. Whether that is the downfall on Xbox compared to PC, I'm really not sure, because we cannot use the software to look at the delta really. But using this setup in the on PC, I was into like the low 143s. And then coming into here, I'm into the 144s, very much closer to the 145s, I think. So there's definitely an offset within this setup on PC. I don't actually share the PC setup that I use, but I think the car had a little bit more rotation on PC. But as soon as I brought it across to Xbox, the rear of the car was so twitchy. Sliding all over the place, very unstable at the rear of the car. So yeah, definitely getting out of shape on a number of corners. I think he's definitely got more confidence through this corner than I have, the car rotating. And again, like I said, mentioning that the issue I've got with rear grip. Always tend to brake just before the 100-yard board here. There's like a tree that I tend to look for rather than a board or anything. The rear of the car always very loose through this section. I guess because the car's got such good rotation, the Porsche, through that section it does do really well. You can see I'm always ahead of the Ferrari that's trailing us currently through that section, but there's definitely areas where he's catching me. Not getting too wide on the entry to turn 1, because you can pick up penalties. And again, just unstable at the rear of the car, sort of having to second guess how much grip I've got. So the Ferrari looks very planted through this section. As much as I'm trying to pay attention to the race, looking at that rear view mirror now, I'm definitely struggling. I think if he was ahead of me, he would be pulling away, I think. Just not enough grip to go through there full throttle. Just a little lift on the entry and then just sort of hanging on to that mid-corner speed.
Yellow flag accepted.
So up on the lap time, then into the 144s. And I've got to be honest, it's disappointing looking at a 144 lap time when you know you're capable of setting something like a 143.2, 143.1 in the same setup on PC. I have tried looking over a number of settings that I use within my own game settings to see if there's anything that is missing. And there just isn't. So the Ferrari a little bit further away on this lap, managed to build a little bit of a gap. But again, he's much more planted through this section. Uberliner maybe picking up a tiny bit of dirt on the exit of that last corner. Starting to get a little bit closer to him here. It's definitely a corner that I really do hate on this circuit. There's so much instability through that corner. Again, this one as well, if you've not lifted off early enough, it's kind of like you don't want to catch that inside corner, but you want to come as close to it as you dare. I really do wish that they would kind of adjust the graphic for the tyres when it is in a good range. I can remember years, I say years ago now, the game has been out years, it's like 2018 it came out. And on the graphic we used to have when the tyre was in at its sweet spot with PSI, all the segments of the tyre would be aligned rather than having like the little centre segment on each tyre currently being just below where it needs to be. I know we should probably be looking at around 27.2 psi throughout the tyres, so they are slightly underinflated, but I really do wish that graphic would align when they did get in that area. I think it still needs to get around 27.5 psi for them to be perfect. So a lot of hype this week. I did release my own video as well, along with the trailer of, I think I'm going to start calling it ACE, Assetto Corsa Ace. I'm sure it'll eventually become that. Evolution, obviously Assetto Corsa Evolution, or Assetto Corsa Evo, so ACE for short. But yeah, there was a lot of speculation, a lot of videos, I think bleeding, like 12 to 20 minutes of dissection out of the video that was literally just over a minute long. And I just think for me, you can clutch at straws all you want really on what you think is sort of in the clip that you're pausing and dissecting, and maybe some of the videos did divulge a little bit more, but for me, I'd rather be seeing all these things on screen answered in the videos rather than the anticipation that we're sort of creating ourselves really in these videos, reaction videos, and what potentially could be there, and I think we all want the game to be so much. I think the more we want it to be something that we want, the more we end up getting disappointed when it's released, because we'd hoped so much through anticipation, if you know what I mean. So Porsche getting very close again at the rear of the car. Myself getting a little bit out of shape again through that corner. I do hate it. But yeah, coming back to Assetto Corsa Evo, do leave your comments in the comment section. You know, your thoughts about, maybe just about what you want to see in like the next sort of teaser release. Is bound to be another one on the run up to Christmas, and then an official release date would have been great, rather than like a pre-release date, a testing date, I suppose. But I guess it is nice that they're thinking of having a sort of pre-release so that they can iron out any, you know, major bugs before it's fully released. I think this game has just been a constant test, hasn't it, ever since it was released. Every new iteration of the game is just a new test. And I think that's just the way games come out these days. I really do wish that they would release them with a more, I guess, a less inflated price, let's put it that way. If you release an unfinished game, you shouldn't be charging 40 quid or 70 quid for the game. You know, if you're releasing it unfinished with content yet to come, you know, you should be releasing it at say 10-15 pound. And then as you develop the game and you create the DLC for it and the updates, you know, charge extra money at those increments, I think, so that we actually get the game that we've actually thinking that we've paid for right from the outset. So starting to approach some back markers now, and I am starting to think, am I just losing time behind Uvalion? Could I actually be quicker? I didn't want to just do the kind of first lap pit stop where you don't get any action within these videos and it's all just about setting lap times. As much as that could be what wins races, it doesn't make for very interesting content, does it? Again, the Porsche at the rear, or the Ferrari at the rear, getting very close. I almost thought he tagged me at one point. So we're also getting close to Uvalion as well. The closest I think we've been. Oh, very tricky under braking. So just looking at 36 litres of fuel then in the car, coming up to that halfway point in the race. Started out the lap on 55 I think really, so we've only used 20 litres of fuel at this point to reach midway through the race. So maybe one more lap, so I definitely didn't need to put extra fuelage in the car. We'd have easily managed the rest of the race with 30 litres of fuel on board if we crossed the line. With 15 minutes to go, we're probably only going to use 20 litres of fuel. But it's so hard to do these calculations whilst you're in the midst of a battle trying to maintain your lap times. I can see myself glancing down as I go very deep into the corner. I do remember at some point the Ferrari driver in the rear getting a little bit wayward. I'm just wondering which lap it is now. Really did think I had a better run out of there than Uvalion, and with the line he ended up taking. But again, he's a little bit further ahead of us on this lap. Starting to think I need to add a little bit more fuel, which is crazy really. Still got 20, literally, yeah, we literally used 3 litres of fuel on that lap. So I don't know why I'm thinking I need more fuel in. See, I always seem to push my head right back in the seat when I'm driving, I really do. It's just that G-force pinning me back in the chair, I think. Oh, so I almost get out of shape and the guy at the rear definitely gets out of shape. Not sure if he managed to keep it on the track or not. Such a tricky corner. Maybe the car definitely needs a little bit more rear downforce. Or as much as we are running maximum downforce, maybe dropping the rear ride height a little bit will give it a little bit more stability through the rear. Could be that we're just losing too much grip from the rear of the car. Just unsettles the car too much. So decided to take that pit stop then, not wanting to get too out of shape, very bumpy on the pit entry. Got the car slowed down nice and early, very much under the pit stop speed required. So just tapping the keyboard alongside me to get the keyboard lit up so I can see the S button, which I always use to turn the engine off. Get nice and slowly into the box, don't mess up the pit stop. Up on the jacks, beautiful stop, and away we go. Press the start button, get the engine started. It's much quicker than the auto start, and we again see, looks like the Ferrari coming in as well. Dogs, yeah, so Dogs just in the pit I think as well. So P1, P2 respectively coming out into a whole heap of traffic. Not really what I wanted, because obviously you've got P1 running in open air, although it is coming up against traffic as well now, so maybe looking at a few laps before that stop could have been a better option. Maybe a nice gap around the midway through the race, or just before midway through the race. Very hard to pinpoint where would be the best kind of stop at the moment. Maybe 10 laps into the race, or sorry, 10 minutes into the race is probably a good time to think about stopping. You might just get that kind of midway gap. I guess it depends how much competition is throughout the rest of the grid. As you look behind me really, the gap between the 93 car and the 159 car would have been a lovely place to pull out. Although these guys did just give me an open track really. So pretty pleased with the way that turned out. And we've got the number 7 car, Uvalainen, starting to catch the number 471 car. I guess I have got the number 55 car just in as much close proximity. It was a terrible outlap, I'll definitely say that, 2:17. I do like to practice my outlaps, so I'll do, when I'm in the practice session, I'll come in, put 1 litre of fuel on board, and then I'll do an outlap. I'll come straight back into the pit. We're getting totally out of shape into turn 1 again. Definitely need to do something with the rear of this car. A lot of over rotation on corner entry. But yeah, when I'm doing my practice sessions, I'll do an outlap and then I'll come straight back into the pit, do a 1 litre stop, and then go straight back out, do an outlap at speed back into the pit. And I try and gauge how much lap time. You can sort of record your lap time, so your average lap time might be like a 2:17, 2:15. But you're kind of knowing that you're better in your outlap and you're in lap almost, this is a good practice session to do, I think. So hopefully I'll get another race completed on the run up to going away this week. I've got a job lined up for next week, take me away for possibly a week's time, and then I'll be back again for a couple of days before away again for another 2-week spell. So Jordan,
Car on the left. Clear on the left.
it's kind of good to look at the leaderboard when you are racing to understand who you're racing against. Obviously Jordan's also done his pit stop, and so we're definitely battling together, I guess, although the car up ahead, definitely not battling against him at all. He's still yet to do his stop, so hopefully he understands the implications of that, that I've already done my stop and we're definitely not battling each other. So it's starting to give me a little bit more room. Feels like he's trying to battle, but he really shouldn't be. You should look at the leaderboard, understand who you're racing and who you're not racing. So again, I just feel like he's just being too aggressive. It's forcing me to second guess my line into corners, watching him in my rear view mirror, whether he's going to run into me or not. So if you are a newcomer to XCL Series or even online racing and you've got a pit stop window to be looking at, it's always good to look at the details down in the left hand corner of the screen to see other cars around you. If they've done their pit stop and it's green and yours has still got a 1 next to it, you're definitely not needing to race against that driver. It won't do you any favours whatsoever. And you really should, I think, just be getting out of the way. Personal opinion, obviously. Very different if you are in a GT3, GT4 lobby. If you're actually in a full GT3 lobby or GT4 lobby, look at that leaderboard. Think about whether you're actually racing the guy for position. So Uvalainen definitely still out on the circuit, with his pit stop still ahead of him. And all these little things, you can see the last lap was a 145.5. This lap's not looking any better, whereas originally we were in the 144s. So definitely losing some performance from these tyres. And definitely on the entry to this corner, I kind of feeling like I'm having to brake earlier, keeping a straight line, and still battling with the car as it swaps, I guess, the balance of the car, running almost wide. The look of pure concentration on my face. Very deep into the corner, losing everything that we built through that lap. Very frustrating to lose that sort of lap time. Just no confidence in the car at all, the rear of the car. Under braking, maybe I should have thought about bringing the brake balance further forward. Obviously, under braking, we can see Uvalainen in the pit, just done his pit stop and he's on his way out. So very safe pit stop, but he'll have the uncertainty of tyre pressure as he comes out the pits. As much as I know I've not got any grip at all, he'll then be understanding that he's not got any grip either, and he's probably in a worse position, having picked up that curb as well, just drags you in. But his tyres, as much as they'll be losing a bit of grip, they'll also be lower on pressure than mine as well at the minute. so you'll definitely be exploring. So as you can see, we're back into P2 then. I'm not sure what number the Ferrari was that was trailing us at one point. So number 21 car then, so he is just behind. Definitely built a good gap though. Oh, very nice of him to move across there, absolutely fantastic. So you see the rear left tyre very, very hot, getting that really green effect. Doesn't help the cause for rear grip. Really did feel confident coming into this race as well that we were going to possibly pick up a P1. It's been a long time since I've won a race in the XCL servers. The competition is really good, and it is good that is the way it is, because you're starting to race against drivers that are of a similar quality, which is great, I think. Whether you're new to XCL and you've just started out in the game, there's definitely plenty of opportunity at XCL in the servers to race in the rookie class or gold leagues, platinum leagues probably at some point, silver and bronze. So there's a good selection of drivers, skill and experience. Definitely worth having a look in the video description. You'll see a link there to register on the website. And I do appreciate all the hard work the guys put in to run these servers. You can make donations, as I'm sure they'll be very grateful. I'm not sure if the website is actually fully sponsored at the moment. I'm sure it's not. But the work the guys do is exceptional. So UV's still into the 144s then. I'm definitely struggling with the car, too much so to be making progress. So for UV to still be hitting the 144s, definitely got a good setup in the McLaren. See how much I'm struggling for rear grip. Even on corners that weren't an issue prior, now very much an issue to maintain throttle. So much on the edge of grip, the car. Just cannot push. I was looking at the lap to see how far the guy was behind me really, just to whether I could just back off a little bit. So coming towards the last lap of the race then, 16 laps, and look at all that fuel still on board. Crazy amount of extra fuel to be running really. I really do need to find myself a good fuel calculator, I think. I was using one at one point for races like this when he's not done a full 30-minute session to understand how much fuel is required. Definitely need to find myself something.
Slow car ahead. Slow, be careful.
Once again, big respect to drivers moving out of the way like that. But yeah, if you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, I never really push for too much for subscribers for the channel. It doesn't really matter. As long as people are watching the content and you're gaining something from the setups and things like that, I really do appreciate people just watching the content. But if you haven't yet subscribed and you feel like there's things on this channel you'd be interested in watching more of, please do smash that subscribe button. Leave a comment, leave a like as well, much appreciated. Helps other people that might be interested in coming to the channel to watch more content like it. Pretty happy with P2, I think. I don't sound too happy with P2, but I think I was, considering the pace that Juvelainen still had. I was happy to pick up. I guess the most disappointing thing I was disappointed with on the night was the lap times. This replay. Not being able to hit a 1:43 was very disappointing with the setup really that I'd created on PC. Maybe it would be better transferring the setup from Xbox to PC rather than vice versa. Picking up the win. And I haven't actually looked to see if that replay had actually recorded. So even his outlaps were all in the 144s, which was really good. I'm looking at my own outlaps, all in the 145s after the pit stop. Couple of good laps prior to the stop. Never fully regained the lap time after the pit stop. Could have had a better run. Just dropping a message. Definitely. Well done, bro. It was a good race with Doug's balls as well. He definitely pushed me, and I guess it must have been some point during the sort of, through the hairpin, down through the sort of kink left. I think we just got a little bit too close and he probably overcompensated on the brake pedal, I think. Let's see what Yuvi's got to say. Good game, mate, good game. So yeah, maybe a few little tweaks to the rear of the setup. Might be worth, I wouldn't say stiffening the front suspension. Just need to do something with the rear of the car. Maybe just drop that touch. Rear tyres, I guess the rear tyres were getting very hot, so that could do with a lot of sliding around. Can't really do much with stiffening the front anti-roll bar. Maybe a tiny click. Front wing, front wheel rates. very tough, but I'd probably say 50 litres of fuel would have done us. Took another 10 litres, maybe even 15 litres of fuel out. But I'll save that. I guess that was 27 Celsius as well, so it was a little bit hotter than intended. Not sure if the server's going to reset. But yeah, thanks for watching. Been a while since I've been in the XCL servers, but really need to get that rating up. But thanks for watching as always, and until the next time, ciao for now.